Hello and welcome back to our series on the math equation editor in Blackboard Ultra. In this video, we're going to take a look at the third tab under the math option. So here we're going to go to Insert Content. We're going to select Math. And we're going to look at the third tab, which is the Arrows tab. And here we're going to see all of our symbols that we have here. So we have our leftwards arrow. So if we had for left arrow X, we could have that. And we could also use a right arrow and have X right arrow 4. This is basically saying in math that X approaches 4. You could say this in either way. You could have a left-right arrow or a double arrow with a single bar between them, like 5 double arrow D, something like this. You could also have arrows that are have 2 bars in them, and this is usually used in logic where you have like implications and things like that. Some people use single arrows or single bar arrows. Some people use double bar arrows. I like to use double bar arrows because when I write on the board, it's a little bit easier to tell. So let's say that, X double bar arrow goes into 4, things like this. You could also have X right arrow going there into 4 like that. You could also have a double arrow, kind of like a double implication, if you will, and have those kind of things going on. So this is your left-right double arrow. And you could also have these kind of symbols where you have arrows with bars. These are popular in engineering. So you could have 5, like a symbol that looks like this. You could also have X with that bar on the arrow, 4, having it go in like that. Again, we have the arrow here that we saw in the last video, saying that there's more symbols here. So here are your up, down, and on the diagonals. So here you have the northeast arrow, the southeast arrow, the northwest arrow, the southwest arrow. Then you have your basically your double arrows going in those directions. You have your little hook arrows here. And then you have kind of like your harpoons here, is what they're called. You have your upwards and your downwards, your double arrow upwards, your double arrow downwards, your harpoon over a long dash, your harpoon under a long dash, things like that. Then you have your left-right harpoons, you have your right-left harpoons, and you have your left harpoon downward barb, right harpoon downward barb. Then you have your 2 arrows going going from the right and then the left underneath. You have your double arrows with your going to the right first and then left underneath. Then you have your up and down arrows up first, your up and down arrows down first, your up and down harpoons, left barb first, going up. Then you have your up and down harpoons with the barb on the bottom first. And then, of course, you have more of these arrows, symbols going through here, your up-down arrow, your double up-down arrow, and then your corner arrow here. So here you are where like a lot of your arrow icons are. In this next group here, we have our dots. So we have vertical ellipsis, we have diagonal ellipsis, we have a dash, a short dash, we have a regular dash, we have a long dash in case you want to use those. We have our downright diagonal ellipsis, we have our horizontal ellipsis, and then we have our midline ellipsis. Okay, now these can be a little hard to tell apart. So if we go through and say, just some stuff here, notice that we have the 3 dots on the bottom there. This is your typical ellipsis, if you will. But if we were to type some stuff and then we use the midline, notice that those 3 dots are in the middle of the letters as far as the character height is concerned. So if we need to see this in a little more detail, we can always go back to the size and increase the size. And that way you can kind of see a little bit better what's happening here with these symbols. So this is where the ellipses are, okay, as far as which direction you want the ellipses to go in. This next group here, these are your arrows that you can type over or under. So if you typed that in, notice my cursor is in that spot here, so this is above. And I have to hit the arrow key or the cursor key to move it out. Notice that after I'm done typing, I'm not outside of that icon. When I hit the right arrow, I go to the beginning. So if I wanted to type stuff, it now shortens the arrow and has the text above what I typed before. I can still type with the stuff here. Notice my text moved to keep it centered. It's not until I have this large cursor blinking that tells me that I'm outside of this icon. So again, as we saw in the first video, we kind of have to watch it to make sure that we are in the proper position in order to do typesetting. And the same thing with all of these other ones as well. Here we have our right arrow with an underscript. Here we have right arrow with both over and under. And then we have our left arrow with overscript, left arrow with underscript, and left arrow with both over and underscripts. So, if, just as an example, if we were to say, this is above, this is below, and again, make sure you have that large cursor to make sure that you are outside the icon. This way, everything is nice and clean. We see that we have another little arrow here for more of these types of icons. And again, here we have all of our double arrows, whether we go left, right, or harpoons, short arrows with long arrows. And again, you're able to type either above or below the arrow itself. So this is just, again, where all of these symbols are located in case you need them for whatever typesetting you need to accomplish. Now, this one here is where you want a vector accent. This is very typical when you are trying to do a possible arrow or possible vector. Notice that as I type out a word, the harpoon grows in length, whereas if I just type in a letter, it keeps it above that. So some instructors may use harpoons to denote vectors when they're typesetting. Here you can have the left-right arrow accent, and this could be the line AB. Basically, that's what this symbol would represent. Notice I'm not outside of the icon. Okay, I have to make sure I have that big cursor there. So let's say I'd put the same thing here, AB, and make sure that I'm outside. And now I can say that this is what a line symbols. Okay. This one down here, the arrow accent, as opposed to the vector accent. Some instructors will use this just because they're used to writing full arrows when it comes to vectors. Again, noticing that the vector increases length, or if you prefer, you can use that with just a V. And notice that I have to be outside before I do anything else. This last one here, this bar accent, this would be similar to a line segment symbol. Remember, line segments have endpoints where lines do not. Other people, like I said, this could be a vector or a ray from geometry. So just in case you want a ray, and you can use the arrow if you want to differentiate that between the vector. So again, these are all of your symbols that are associated with the arrows and the ellipsis. Hope that you have some fun typesetting with some of these things, get some practice in, and I thank you for your time and attention.